Alright, I've changed the view in the cockpit here to be more... This is more what your view would be in real life in the airplane. The one that they had was too far aft and high. So, me and Heidi are ready to go. First things first. Let's set our altimeter. Now, this airport doesn't have weather available, weather services, but we do know the airfield's elevation. So, 65 feet elevation. We want to set our altimeter to read 65 feet. That's 2, 4, 6, 65. Right about there. So our altimeter is 29093, just like it should be. Just like I thought it would be. Alright. So let me get my checklist. It's the real world checklist for the 172S. Like I said, the procedures are not too different for the two. Alright, so pre-flight is done. Before starting engine, pre-flight inspection complete. Passenger briefing complete. I'm not going to brief Heidi. Seats and seat belts adjusted and locked. Ensure inertia real locking. In real life, you just sort of do a little jolt, shake your seat. Brakes are tested and set. I'm going to set the parking brake just to make my life easier. Circuit breakers are checked in. I can't play with the circuit breakers in this airplane, but they should all be in, and they are. Electrical equipment is off. Caution, avionics master switch must be in the off during engine start to prevent possible damage to avionics. Avionics master switch is off. Fuel selector valve is both. Fuel shutoff valve is on. Push full in. Check both those. They're good. Avionics circuit breakers check in. Starting the engine. Now, this is a flow. Well, it's a good idea to have it a flow. We'll go through the starting engine check real quick. Throttle is open 1/4 inch. Just bump it. That is literally a light touch. Mixture is cut off. Prop area is clear. We would shout clear, but I will do that a little bit later. From this point on, it's a flow. So I'm going to do it from memory. Now, I told y'all this plane was very realistic, right? Well, how do you start the default 172? You turn the fuel on, mixture rich, electrical on, and turn the mags. But that's not how you start a real-life 172. That's how you would start the real-life 172 if it had a carburetor engine. The default 172, for some reason, they all have carburetor engines. This aircraft has a fuel-injected engine. We start the engine with the fuel mixture off. Okay? Comment section. Hello? Fuel mixture off. Cut off. That is the real world procedure. I know. 80 hours on the real life airplane. Okay? So, we're going to do that. And I'm just going to go through the flow real quick. And before I do that, I'm going to set Fraps to record my voice so I don't have to hold down the caps lock key. Okay. Starting the engine. Master on. Beacon light on. Fuel pump. Good rise. Fuel pump off. Mag right, mag left, mag both. And since it's hot, in real life you would sit here for a couple seconds to let the fuel vapor build up in the cylinders. That's good. Starting the engine. Took it a second to turn over. Basically, once the engine is up and running, though, you want to advance that mixture to full rich. Engine's up and running. We got good oil pressure. Bring the mixture down about 50%. You want to lean the mixture out. I didn't have enough power on startup. I should have bumped that throttle in a little bit more. Like I said, 1/4 inch is barely a nudge. All right. We're going to test our Annunciation lights real quick. And I like to set them to dim. Alright, beacon lights on. Mixture's leaned out. Gauges are in the green. Avionics on. I'm going to go ahead and turn my GPS on too. Alright. Now let's set our departure Radios 122.9 is the local CTAF frequency. I've already set my avionics. I'm going to zoom the GPS in a bit. Oops. That's our flight plan. You see Jackson International there. Alright. Looks good. Alright. So now the avionics are on. We'll run through the... Let's see. So check, avionics on, radios on, flaps up. That is the starting engine checks complete. There isn't really a taxi checklist in the manual, but there is sort of a taxi flow and checklist that we do. We are taxiing on grass, so it's going to take a decent amount of power to get the airplane going. I'm going to hit D to, I'm just going to hit D on most of the time to sync my HSI up to the nav to the compass. Alright, we're idling very well. Gauges look good. Now, this aircraft has real-time failures, guys. So if you don't fly it correctly, like if I were to run with a low throttle setting and a rich mixture, I would foul up my spark plugs, and it would show. Magnetos might not work. Alright, so we're going to taxi out. Wind seems to favor runway 18, which is what I wanted, because runway 18 has the obstacle to contend with. So, runway 18 it is. Now, let me set my transponder real quick. VFR. I told you it takes a lot of power to get going on grass, and it does. Look at that. Look how I had to get all the way up to 1500 RPM before it went going. Now you always want to taxi on grass with the elevator full aft. Your technique for taxiing on a soft surface like this is a decent amount of power to keep you going. Try not to use your brakes, which we had to turn, and you want to keep your elevator full back. Now once we get on the runway, we won't have an issue. Okay, no way is coming. Alright, we're on the asphalt now. Oh wow, did you see the sun glare on the window like that? That was cool. I've never seen that before in any airplane. I've also noticed during my test flight with this the other day when I first installed it, I spawned it cold and dark, and it was towards the evening, so it was a little cool. The window actually fogged up. I can't remember where the defroster is. See, that's cabin heat. There should be an extra knob here for the defroster, but I don't see it. Alright, so we're ready for our before takeoff checks. First, I'm going to enter in my off block time on the nav log. 17:28. Let's see, that comes out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 2100 Zulu. So 21:28 Zulu off block. Alright. Before takeoff, parking brakes set, passenger seat backs most upright position, Seats and seat belts checked secure. Cabin doors closed and locked. Flight controls free and correct. Easier to do this from an external view. You just want to move your flight controls to their full deflection. Make sure they're all working correctly. And you're also feeling to make sure there's no loose wires or nothing. Flight instruments checked and set. I'm just going to hit D one more time. And the flight instruments all look good. Fuel quantity, we checked during pre-flight, and it matches the gauges pretty close. Note on the fuel gauge. In real life, the fuel gauge does not have to be accurate unless the tanks are empty. It only has to tell you the tanks are empty. And trust me, I've seen it on real life. They don't always indicate what's actually in the tanks. That's why we have the nav log, and we checked that we had 20... What did I say it was? It was 24 and 26. So... I don't fucking know. We have 88% fuel according to that. So, I can't remember. I should have wrote it down. Alright, fuel quantity, check. Mixture, full rich. Now I'm going to sit here for a while since I'm talking to y'all. But I'm going to run through this mag check really quick. And basically what I do is a mixture to full rich, check the throttles, annunciators, and then bring the throttle back to idle. Basically what you want to do is set your mixture to best power, really, which in this case would be full rich. And then let's set 1800 RPM. You want to advance the throttle slowly. It's 16, 17, 1800 RPM right there. Alright, let's check the right mag. Right mag was good. Wait for it to stabilize again. Left mag. Left mag was good. Back to both. No annunciations. All the gauges are in the green. Throttle back to idle. You bring it all the way back to idle. What you're testing here is a stop block in the throttle that it's actually in the throttle assembly, designed to keep you from bringing the throttle out so far that it cuts the engine off. I'm going to re-lean the mixture here. Throttle friction lock adjust. That doesn't appear to work in the sim. No surprise there. Strobe lights as desired. I'm going to leave them off for now. Radios and avionics set. I'm going to set them. First, I'm going to shut these guys up by setting 121.5. I'm going to set my frequency to guard because that's an unused frequency in Flight Sim. So they'll shut all them guys up. Okay, radios and avionics. I'm going to auto-tune to approach and get flight following whenever I decide to. I might not do it. So let's set our radios up. Alma VOR. Actually, we need to look at the Waycross VOR is 110.2. I'm not going to the Waycross VOR, but I want to have it set for reference. And the Waycross NDB is 219. You guys gotta forgive me. I do not know how to work NDB. But A2A did model these avionics correctly, so they all work. All these buttons and switches. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. Still not working. Okay, set that to ADF. I have no fucking idea. I don't know ADF, okay? Sue me. Ugh. I never learned. Okay, we never learned it. The airplane I flew in real life did not have ADF. It didn't come equipped with it, so screw it. Alma VOR is 115.1. I'll set that nav 1 standby. And the other VOR we got to worry about is the McRae VOR. Oh, wait, that's not NDB. Never mind. Okay, we're going to be doing mostly visual on this flight anyway. So that's my avionics set. As for the autopilot, you are required to know how to use all aircraft systems. That includes the autopilot. I'm going to set it to our planned cruising altitude of 6,500. Remember, we planned for 4,500, but we're going to try 6,500. The performance will be better up there, and it's cooler. Alright, so that is before takeoff checks complete, I believe. Okay, no it's not. Sorry. Autopilot if installed, set and off. Manual electric trim if installed. Test, I don't know if it's installed or not. I'm just going to set our trim to takeoff. Elevator trim set for takeoff. Wing flaps. This is going to be a short field takeoff, so set those to 10. Brakes release. We'll leave them set for now. Okay. Takeoff checklist. We want to run through our takeoff procedure. It will be a short field takeoff, so wing flaps 10. We'll get centered on the runway and hold the brakes. Bring the throttle to full open. Check the gauges. Release the brakes. And we want to bring the elevator control to tail slightly low, which is about right there. Well, which is about right there. Just a little bit of back pressure. We want to climb out at 56 knots, which is VX. And once we get above the 50-foot obstacle, which is 100, I always shoot for 100 feet. The pressure has seemed to have changed, so we're going to reset our altimeter. I always shoot for 100 feet. So 100 feet above field elevation. So 200 feet on the altimeter, and we'll be above the 50-foot obstacle. Then, once we're above 50 feet, we pitch for VY. Once we get above 80, I think it's 80, 60 knots, we can retract the flaps. But we want to have our flaps retracted by 400 feet. So if we hit 400 feet, we retract the flaps anyway. We should be well above 60 knots by then. Alright. So I want to turn the landing and strobe lights on. And set that back. I'm also going to set guard in my COM2 standby. 121.5. I had it set to 9, so I wasn't on guard, was I? Let's see. 121.5. There we go. Transponder set VFR. Test. Altitude mode. Transponder set to altitude mode. Doesn't appear to be anyone on final for the first run, or 1A or 36. So we'll go ahead and taxi. Oh, note that. Note how the nose wheel is turned when we were sitting still. Got to use these brakes. I don't want to go back in the grass. Okay, I'm already in the grass. Screw it. We're going across the grass. I also have AccuFeel version 2 installed from A2A as well. It's a pretty day today. Nice afternoon. Alright. We want to bring our sail. I'm going to go to external view because it's easier. We want to get all the way to the end of the runway. I just want to keep our wheels right here on the edge. And then right here we want to turn her around. There's a plane on final. I didn't hear him. Did anyone hear him on the radio? Well, we're going to wait for him to go around. So, we've reviewed our... Now I hear him on the radio. It was a Global Freightways plane. Why? Why is a Caravan coming here? I don't get it. Okay, we're ready to go. Sorry, Caravan, I didn't hear you. We're departing to the north. Shit. Everyone wants to fly today. Alright, here we go. Hold the wing flaps, or hold the brakes. Full throttle set, gauges in the green, release the brakes. Slight back pressure. Got a slight crosswind. 50, 55, pitch for VX. Alright, we're clear of the 50, pitch for VY. 60 knots, flaps up. Alright, VY is about 70 knots, 74 knots in this airplane, right about there. We want to find a pitch to hold to maintain that airspeed. Right about there. Should do it. Alright, 500 feet, we can turn now. Loud as hell in here, isn't it? I don't have a pair of rotor pedals, guys. All I have is my joystick, so that's why my turns are uncoordinated. I'm just going to turn till we have a north heading on the magnetic compass. Alright, we're on Jacksonville approaches frequency now. Let's do the climb checks. Throttle, our airspeed 70 to 85. Throttle full, mixture rich above 3,000. Or lean to obtain maximum RPM. Alright, so we're good to go here. Now what we're looking for outside is the road, not that road. Here's the town, there's Folkestone, there's 121. 121 eventually hooks up with US1, which is the road we want to follow. As is at this point in real life, I'd call flight service and open my flight plan. We took off at 1740 Zulu, which is 2140. 1740 local, 2140 Zulu, sorry. So we're expecting 2240 on our arrival time. This is about the climb rate of the real life 172. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I'm going to climb at about VY, best rate. Alright, I can see the road here in external view. We hop over to Heidi's seat. See what Heidi sees. You can see the road. See that blinking light at the tower? And you can see the cars on it too. So we want to get on the right side of that. When following a road, in both in real life and in Flight Simulator, you want to be on the right side, just like you were driving. That way you don't hit anyone else flying along that road. Right? Right. My water went down the wrong hole there. Sorry. Alright. Now you see right here, this is my hometown, so I can tell you this. The road sort of splits off. That's because the southbound lane splits off to the right a bit. Northbound lane stays where it is. So that's also our indication as to the road we want to follow to Jacksonville. This is US 1 right here. This road that's forking off to the side here is 301, and that will take us straight to Waycross. I don't know why I said Jacksonville. Shut up. So we want to follow 301. No damn wonder it's so loud in here. My window is open. It's quiet. Oh, and one other feature I want to show you too. When I plug my headset in, it gets quieter. Isn't that neat? Alright, we're above 3,000 feet. I'm going to lean the mixture out a little bit. There's the road we want to follow. And the railroad tracks. You can see the railroad tracks very well. In real life, a lot of the woods between here and Waycross has been cleared out. It's basically all timber farm. So they recently cleared it out, and we would be able to see the road very well if this was a real life flight. I'm gonna climb us at about 80 knots. We're coming up on 4,000 feet. I'm going to turn the landing light off. For some reason, I always figured that I don't normally turn my landing light off until I'm at the top of climb. It's sort of an indication to other airplanes that I'm climbing or descending. I'm going to set my heading bug to the heading I want to fly. And according to my nav log, that's about 344, which seems pretty close. Okay, again, we're following the road here, so US 1 right down there with the railroad track that parallels it. 5,000. Look at my mixture. I like to lean the mixture via RPM during the climb. You can have little set notches to bring it back to during climb. Anyway, once we get at cruise, I'll use it on the EGT. All right, tracking to the VOR. So there's our radial. We can track inbound. I'm following the road. I'm not really paying attention to the radial or the GPS, if you can't tell. Alright, so this airplane is really nice. It's a little sensitive. We're 1,000 feet from our set cruising altitude in the autopilot. Another reason you want to set it because you get those audio beeps when you get close to it. It'll also let you know what in God's name just happened. Yeah. What I hate about Flight Simulator, I'm using OPUS for my weather. I only use Active Sky for flight planning. So those clouds literally appeared out of nowhere. I have no choice but to fly into them. No way I could have avoided those clouds. No way. Alright, I know we said we're going to try for 6,500. I like how Heidi is just fixated on the outside of the plane. That's about what a real passenger does too. Now she's looking at me. Hi Heidi, how you doing? Stop looking at me, you creepy cow. Well, she is kind of cute though. Okay, yeah, there's no way we can get 6,500 today, guys. Alright, we're going to descend down to 4,500. Just going to set my throttle to 2,100 RPM. Rich the mixture just a tad. And just have a nice 500 foot per minute descent. We'll turn the landing lights back on real quick. Alright, let's talk about, well, let's get over to Waycross. Somewhere between Waycross and Alma, we'll pick this flight back up, and I'll show you some of the maneuvers out of the book. Alright. Coming up on the Alma waypoint. There's the Alma down there. Nice airport, I've been there before. I've had the autopilot on just to make my life easier. It's dinner time. I'm trying to cook dinner and do this at the same time. I'm going to turn heading select back on now since we're about to fly over the VOR. Oh, wow. Wind shear. Weather update. Hate it when it does that. Alright, we want to get about 1.5 DME away from the Alma VOR. Alright, it just flipped over. We're tracking outbound now. Should be able to see the station. It's down there somewhere. There's one DME. So overall, this plane is very accurate. It's flying just like the real one did. Very smooth. I can't wait to try it with the different equipment settings they had. Alright, so what is my heading to fly? Radial 353 is what we want to track on. Go. So let's go ahead and get on that radial. Pretty close to the station, so it should be very sensitive. Actually, let's not. Let's do what I said we were going to do and do some of the maneuvers. Alright, what's a fun one? Let me see. Power on stalls. Yeah, we'll do a few stalls. Let's just see how freaking realistic this thing is. This turns around a point. 8 on a pylon. Power off stalls. There's a good one. Alright. Power off stalls. Let me just note our time. We crossed Alma at about 18:12. That's 22:12. Pretty close to what I planned. 10 minutes from now. I'm not going to do the ETAs. Alright, so autopilot off. Actually, no, wait. Autopilot back on. Autopilot on, heading select, and altitude hold. Alright. Just so I can read this book. C. Objective. Stall the airplane without power in landing configuration, then recover with minimum loss of altitude. That's our objective for this maneuver. C. Find a practice area where terrain is appropriate for maneuvering. Select an altitude that allows maneuver to be completed. This one's fine, 4,500 feet. See, clear the area of other aircraft. We're clear. I'm not doing clearing turns, guys. I'm just going to monitor guard. Trim the airplane. Autopilot's got it right now. Carb heat not installed. Power to idle. Apply back pressure on the yoke. Reduce airspeed and maintain altitude. Set flaps to landing configuration. Make sure airspeed was within Y arc. Maintain wings level. Recognize announce symptoms of approaching stall. Alright, so refreshing. I'm reading this to refresh my memory. It's been a while since I've done this maneuver. Apply back pressure on yoke. Blah blah blah. Alright. Alright, so power off stall. Ignore the heading indicator. Let's look for something we can fly out to. These clouds are moving, so they don't really work too well. Let's find a point out in the distance somewhere. That clearing over there looks good. Alright. So we'll just fly to that clearing there. I'll resync my heading indicator. Alright. Carb heat not installed. Power to idle. Apply back pressure on the yoke. Reduce out and maintain altitude. Reduce airspeed, maintain altitude. We're in the wide arc. Landing flap set. Just want to maintain our altitude until it stalls. So here we are. We're flaring. We're flaring. Flaps 1 set immediately. Flaps 20 set immediately. Positive rate of climb. Flaps 10. Above 65. Flaps up. That's the go-around procedure, which is also your recovery procedure from a stall. We lost 200 feet of altitude, but we did keep our heading. That's good. I'll allow that. Alright, so again, autopilot back on. Heading select, altitude hold. Let's do something else. Let's do slow flight. This is a real test of how accurate the physics are, is if you can maneuver the airplane in slow flight. So autopilot off, and we'll reduce the throttle to 1900 RPM. Actually 1500, sorry. Reduce throttle to 1500 RPM. Don't let the plane descend, maintain altitude. We're in the wide arc, landing flaps. Now, slow flight, we're looking for between 40 and 50 knots, maintaining a level altitude. We're on the back side of the power curve now, so I add a little bit of power. I'll pitch up to slow. Alright, now we're on the back side of the power curve right now, guys. Now, in the default Cessna, it doesn't really replicate this too well. But in this Cessna, it's doing exactly what it should do. You can see I'm adding more power to... I got to get back up to my altitude, 4,500. I use my pitch for airspeed and my power for altitude. No stall indicator. So I want to be around 45. Pitch up. Okay, I reduced the power now a little bit since I'm at 4,500. There's the stall indicator. I'm getting too slow. Pitch down. Right there is where we want our airspeed, just at the bottom of that green arc. Let's come back to our heading. The airplane does want to drift a little in slow flight. Just like it's like that in real life too. It wants to drift to the right in slow flight. I don't know why, it just always does. You'd think it'd want to go left, but it don't. Alright, so we're doing pretty good. The hardest part, and this is harder because I don't have a set of rudder pedals for my flight sim. Maybe I'll get some next year when I get my tax break. Or my tax return. See, that's the key. You just want to try to keep it on your heading. Now let's just see how accurate these physics are. Oh yeah, very accurate. See, I'm giving it full deflection on the ailerons. The controls are very mushy right now because there's not a lot of air going over the ailerons, right? See, that's accurate. That's exactly the way it should be. Alright, so I'm just going to recover from the stall, full power. I'll recover from this. Be like a go-around. Except when I'm trying to maintain my altitude. Let's see, flaps 20. Flaps 10. And flaps up. Okay, again, autopilot, heading, altitude hold. Let's see, we've done slow flight, we've done power off stalls. Let's do a ground ref maneuver. Let's see, I'm not too good at eights on a pylon. Eights on a pylon are a little tricky to do in Flight Sim 2. Let's see, S turns, no, I don't want to do S turns. Let's do turns around a point. Now, normally you'd go down to 1,000 feet to do this, but I'm not going to. Let's see here. Where's a good point? Right there. Yeah. Okay. So, wind's coming at a 053. We'll set 053 on the heading. Wind's coming out of that direction. Let's see that lake there, that little pond just off our wingtip. That clearing right next to it, that's going to be our point. So I'm going to try to maintain 4,500. Normally you'd go down to 1,000 feet, but I'm not going to do that. Screw it. Alright, so turns around a point. The idea of turns around a point is to maintain a constant radius from a point on the ground. It's very effective at teaching proper control for the crosswinds because you're. Let me see if I remember this correctly. When you are into the wind, you're faster. Tailwinds make you faster. Headwinds make you slower. Okay. So when the wind is blowing you away from your waypoint, so you're downwind of your point on the ground, you need to have a tighter turn. When you're upwind of your point on the ground, or is it the backward? I have, god damn it, it's been a long time since I've done this. Okay. Okay, yeah, when you're upwind of your point, you need to have a sharper turn because the wind wants to push you towards your point. And vice versa on downwind, you need to have a lighter turn because it wants to push you away. Alright, we always enter these downwind, which I am right now. So I'm going to fly this heading for a second. Want to maintain a constant radius from that point. As for my altitude, I've trimmed for level flight. We're going to ignore the altitude for the most part. Actually, I'll set my that window there so I can at least see what my altitude is. Alright, so we're beamed to point on the downwind. Let's start the turn. We always do 2 laps around the point. Now see, this is a lot easier from 1,000 feet too. I probably should have at least attempted 8s on a pylon, but it's kind of hard to do in Flight Sim. I might do one day. And I got one more maneuver we're going to do after this. I'll just do 1 lap around it to save time. So far the airplane is behaving exactly like the real thing. Which is impressive, to say the least. Alright, we've lost about 100 feet of altitude here. See, in real life, you're constantly going back and forth between the point and your gauges. You also want to keep your eyes out the window, too. Alright, see... I'll just do like a little U-turn. Turns around a point is a very good method when you're lost. If you find a water tower in real life and you do turns around a point around it to try to see a name of a town written on it. Alright, so I'm just going to exit this point right here once we get back on course. With the heading indicator, we'll be flying into the wind. Alright, so the airplane's behaving like it should. I'm going to pause the sim real quick. Alright, let's see if we can do one of my favorite maneuvers. Let me find the page for it. Let's see, cross-controlled stalls, secondary stalls, steep turns, steep spiral. Here we go, chandelles. One of my favorite maneuvers because it's awesome. Alright, we got our heading indicator set and we're at 4,500 feet. Alright, a chandelle. Demonstrate a maximum performance climbing turn with a heading change of 180 degrees at maximum gain in altitude and rolling wings level just above stall speed. This is a very difficult maneuver to do. Alright. So, what we want to do, we want to be perpendicular to the wind. Alright, so let's turn back to the south and get the wind coming off of our left wing. Oh, I'm going to turn my taxi light on. Any other airplanes in the area need to be able to see where I'm at. Okay, chandelles are very, very fun, but they're very difficult to get right. My fellow pilots can attest. It's even harder in flight sim when you're in a plane that doesn't behave like it should, i.e. the defaults in a lot of third-party airplanes. This airplane, I'm going to attempt the chandelle in because it's behaving exactly like the real one does. Alright, so we're on course and we're close enough to altitude. I'm going to pause again and we're going to read through how to do this. Task number 1, find practice air, blah, 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 cruise speed, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Set power to obtain maneuvering speed, cruise speed, or manufacturer recommended speed, whichever is less. What's maneuvering speed in this airplane? Should be written somewhere. 99 knots. Alright, we're going to use 99 knots for our cruise speed, or for our speed. Trim airplane for a level hands-off flight. Establish wind direction. We have our wind direction. Alright. So, let's reduce the throttle a tad and get back up to 4,500 feet exact. There's maneuver speed. Give it a little back pressure on the trim. Alright, pause the sim. Next thing, roll into the wind, 30 degrees of bank, pitch airplane up to a climbing turn, smoothly apply full power without exceeding maximum RPM. Once bank angle is established, neutralize ailerons, maintain coordination. Okay, the coordination thing is going to be hard since I don't have rudder pedals, but we'll try our best. Maintain 30 degrees of bank until the 90. Continue to increase pitch until the 90. Maintain full altitude or full power. Altitude is increasing, airspeed is decreasing. Gradually start rolling out of bank at the 90. Maintain pitch. Altitude, maintain coordinate flight. Maintain coordination. Complete rollout to wings level 180 degree point. Airspeed is approximately 1.2 VSI. Yeah, this is a hard maneuver to do in flight sim, especially when you don't have rudder pedals because you really got to keep it coordinated, but we're going to try it anyway. Alright, so roll into a 30 degrees of bank. Pitch up. Got full power. Gradually start rolling out of our turn. Ah, hell. I so cocked that up. Alright, we'll try a right chandelle. You see, you want to turn into the wind when you're doing this maneuver. So, let's try a right chandelle. Let me get us back down to altitude. Oop, little puff there. A little bit of a backfire. Alright, trade a little altitude for airspeed. Let's get back at 99 knots. 99 knots. 99 problems, and money could solve at least 80 of them. Alright, right about here. There we go. Hear that sputter whenever you like decrease the throttle? From like full power to a sudden throttle decrease, it wants to sputter. That's cool. That's accurate too. Damn, A2A did a good job. Alright, we're going to try a right chandelle. Again, I suck at these, so... Here we go. 30 degrees of bank. Give it a pitch up. Ah, shit. We started a descent, which means we failed the maneuver. Fuck it. Ugh, I suck at these. Okay, a little bit of practice. I need to practice those. But this airplane is behaving very, very realistically. A2A did a good job. Alright, so we're about 14 minutes out now, 25 miles. And this is the point we really want to start planning our descent. 172 normal cross country, you want to descend about 500 feet per minute. From an altitude of 4,500, it's going to take us about 5 minutes to descend down to 1,500 feet. Traffic pattern altitude. I got my airport facility directory. Let's look at it. Okay, Heart of Georgia Regional. 3 miles east, UTC -5. 304 feet elevation. 100 low lead jet A available. 2 runways. Tended Monday through Saturday. 24-hour self-fuel. Deer and other wildlife in vicinity of airport. Flight training in area. Rotating beacon ops, dusk to 0500 Zulu. High intensity runway lights. Preset to medium intensity. Happy runway 2 and runway 20 operate continuously, dusk to 0300 Zulu. I know I've been giving a lot of comparisons to the PMDG NGX, which is a great plane, by the way. It may cost a little too much money in my opinion, but very good aircraft. But it's got one flaw. I have no way of knowing if it's realistic. I'm sure its systems are realistic, and for that amount of money, it frickin' better be realistic. But since I've never logged any real flight time in a 737, I pretty much only have the designers and other people's word to go on if it's realistic or not. I wanted to review this airplane. For one, it's a brand new plane. It just came out, I think, this week. And it's a plane that I've logged time in real life. I know exactly what it should do in a certain situation. And I know sort of what the avionics should do. Now, granted, I got my ass kicked a little bit because it's a little different from the G1000, obviously. Hopefully A2A will see it in their hearts to do a G1000 expansion for this plane, because A2A, if you're watching this, holy cow, guys, really do it, because you have not seen a 172 sing. You have not seen a 172 or see a G1 or see a GPS really sing until you have seen the G1000. It's really that awesome. Okay. So let's watch me land, shall we? Alright. Flap set 10. Oh, it was a little fast. You should make sure you're below 110 before you set your flaps. I hope that didn't blow them out. Alright, shooting for 80 knots right now. We're not on the backside of the power curve yet. So. I'm a little far out, need to get closer. Traffic pattern is about 1 mile on downwind. So 1 mile from the runway is a downwind leg. Not 5 miles. I've heard people say 5 miles before. It's not, it's 1 mile. See, pappies are on. I'm a little high. Alright, we're on the base. Set flaps 20. Okay, start using pitch for airspeed. Still pitching for about 75 now. And use throttle for altitude. Watch those power lines on final. Okay, we're right on the glide slope. Give it a little bit of power to keep it there. Pitch back to slow down to 65 knots. Alright, here we go. 65 knots. Power set. Little below glide slope, increase power. Way below glide slope, really increase the power. Pitch up, we're too fast. Feels made, flaps full. There we go. There's the picture I'm looking for. FBO is located about midfield, so no winds. Should be a nice smooth landing. Just floating a bit. We can make this taxiway.
Tower, Cessna, November 231, Niner Tango, 11 miles northeast to land. Cessna, November 231, Niner Tango, Tower, flight right, traffic, runway 2, altimeter 29991.
For some reason, the plane did not want a taxi.
Cessna, 1 Niner Tango.
There we go.
Contact ground on 121.
That's the oven going off in the background. My pizza's done.
Over 2121.175, Cessna 74 Hotel, bye-bye.
Alright. Tune to ground. After landing, I'm going to go ahead and turn transponder to off. My pizza's done. I need to go get it. Bring the mixture out a bit. Landing and strobe lights off. And I'm going to pause the sim, go get my pizza. Alrighty. Cleared the runway. After landing check's complete. Not going to call ground for taxi. I never do. Because I got GSX. I want to go to spot 1. Alright, I'm going to shut my GPS off real quick. So marshaller is out there. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, walkthrough, tutorial, whatever the hell this was, of the A2A Cessna 172, and it comes highly recommended. It's only $50, but for that $50, you are getting one of the most well-known airplanes on the face of the planet, and that is accurately simulated. I mean, you saw when I did the maneuvers. I told you everything was behaving exactly the way it should if you were in the real airplane. So definitely worth the money. I'm probably scaring the living shit out of this marshaller. I need to check the AFCAD for this scenery. Yeah. A little too far. Little too far. Alright. Throttle. Brake set. Alright. After, or shutdown flow. Avionics. Lights. Mixture. The prop has stopped. Magnetos, lights, master, and fuel. Alright, so let's completely shut this plane down like we should. So completely secure it. Let Heidi out. And the way we secure it is, first we get rid of our sunglasses. We put the control lock on. Wheel chocks and tie downs. Actually, just the tie downs are the wheel chocks. Alright. I think Heidi's ready to get out of the plane. What do you guys think? So am I. Alright, let's dump our baggage out the plane too. And let's go ahead, shut the doors. The aircraft is now completely shut down and locked up, just like it should be. This is how it would be in an FBO, so no tie downs, just chocks. Alright. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This plane is very, very accurate, very well done, highly recommended. Just for fun, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you have the GPS installed. As soon as I find the right button. See, that's what it looks like with the built-in GPS. So we still have our transponder, autopilot, ADF, COM 1 and 2. We lost DME though. Maybe I think it's moved on to the GPS. I don't know. But you also have the option of no GPS, so you can do it the old-fashioned way. Or what I prefer, this GPS 295 right here, because it's something different. It's the first time I've seen that modeled like that. Really cool. I like it. I'm probably going to use this airplane quite a bit now. Freaking ghost plane. That's some bug. I don't know why, but in my flight simulator, AI traffic is invisible until it gets close to you. So he should become visible here in a second. I have no idea what's causing it either. See, he'll taxi in close. No idea what kind of airplane he is. Okay, I guess he just wants to be invisible all the time. He's in the ramp with me too. That's weird. Alright, well, I will see y'all later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff.